We're so glad you could join us for On Call for All Kids. Today we're talking about how to stay safe in the summertime. We'll be going over how to stay properly hydrated in the heat, what to drink in the summer months, and what to look for when it comes to heat-related illnesses. I'm joined by Dr. Joseph Perno. He's an emergency medicine physician at JohnsHopkinsAllChildren'sHospital. And it is so great to see you, Dr. Perno.
It's great to see you too, Ashley.
So unfortunately, these COVID-19 cases are on the rise, which means really we should be staying at home, but that doesn't necessarily mean we have to stay inside. So what do you recommend for kids and families?
Yeah, I think now more than ever, we should be getting outside. We should still get outside and social distance, right? So we need to get that exercise. The kids need to be moving. The adults need to be moving. So we do need to get out, but we need to be smart about it, given the fact that it's the heat of the summer. So trying to get out of the house in the early morning hours when it's not quite so hot, or maybe the early evening hours as the sun's going down. Those are good options. If you could find a shady park, the shade, it's still cooler than the blazing hot sun out in an open field. Those are good options also. Think about what you're wearing. So wearing the synthetic clothing that helps whisk away the sweat and helps evaporation, which promotes cooling, is important. Think about a hat. Keeping the sun off your face is going to keep your body cooler and also protect you against sunburn. Basically, when you're packing up to go for the day to get out and get some exercise, make sure you pack water, sunscreen, and bug spray in the summertime.
So you mentioned water. That's a great thing for us to drink. We know that, but how else can we really make sure that we're staying hydrated in the summer?
So probably the most important thing is to understand that by the time you're feeling thirsty, you're probably already dehydrated. So we really proactive about our drinking, and ideally it's water. If you're doing aggressive exercise, you could do a sport drink, but really just drinking water throughout the day before you get to that point of being really thirsty. If you know you're going to be headed out to do either some exercise or some aggressive outdoor activity where you're going to be sweating and losing fluids, prehydration is key. So drinking up to 2 hours before you head out 3 glasses of water. And then right before you head out, about 15 minutes, getting 2 more glasses. And then maintaining your hydration as you're doing whatever activity you're doing outside. Every 15 minutes, you should be stopping to take a drink of water and rehydrate yourself during this whole process.
Can you kind of break it down for us between water and those sport drinks? You say water first, but if you're doing vigorous activity, why is that?
So water is great for the run-of-the-mill activities. Water's your best thing for rehydration. If you're having aggressive exercise, anything 60 minutes or more, our athletes, as they're practicing in the summer heat, the sport drinks have some added benefits. So they have sugar, they have the electrolytes we need, primarily salt, which helps your body retain that fluid. So those are all ideal things. The problem we run into with the sport drinks is if I'm going to be just at home quarantining and sitting on the couch all day, the sport drinks are full of extra calories that I do not need, and then water is your better bet. But if you're going to have aggressive heat-based exercise, the sport drink's a good choice.
And what about sodas or other juice-type drinks?
So sodas, the problem with sodas are a couple, actually, is they're full of sugar. They don't offer a lot of benefit there. So you're getting all these empty calories you don't need. They are carbonated. So the carbonation often fills you up. So you don't end up drinking as much of the liquid that you wanted to because you feel full because of the carbonation. And then many of the sodas have caffeine, and caffeine is a mild diuretic, which means you end up peeing out what you take in. So really, those should be saved for a treat, for the birthday party, a once-in-a-while activity. They're not to be used for rehydration whatsoever.
So hopefully we're doing all the right things to stay hydrated, but how do we know we are hydrated? And specifically, what is this thing called the Ptest?
Yeah. So you know you're hydrated, number one, so you're not feeling thirsty. You're not going, wow, I'm getting dry. Your mouth is getting tacky, those sorts of things. But yeah, the Ptest is something we could teach children that's kind of fun that they get into, but they helps them monitor their hydration. So when you're well hydrated, your urine should be a light colored yellow, like a lemonade, or even clear if you're very hydrated. As you get more dehydrated, your urine becomes more concentrated, deeper yellow to orange, often a strong smell. So these are things that kids can be taught to watch for and help monitor their fluid intake.
And unfortunately, if we do get dehydrated, or maybe the heat is just really taking a toll on our kids or one of our family members, what are those signs and symptoms that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, I think it's important that people do know these. So heat illness is kind of a big spectrum. So it starts with just some mild overheating, right? Your child's getting flushed, maybe a little dehydrated. That's when you want to intervene and say, okay, maybe we need to take a break here, get out of the sun, get out of the heat, and really just rehydrate with some cool beverages. As we start to get up into what we call heat exhaustion, that's when we might see some muscle cramps, some nausea, some vomitings, even some lightheadedness. And that's where we need more aggressive, get to a cool environment, really push the sport drinks if that's going on. That's where we want to leverage those electrolytes and the sugar that I mentioned previously. And then the most extreme is when we start getting into heat stroke, where your body is becoming overwhelmed by external temperatures. And that's when you're going to start seeing alteration of mental status and awareness. And that's a true emergency and would need to come to the emergency department to be treated. And that's what we're trying to avoid.
All right, Dr. Perna. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this tips and advice. It was really great to see you today.
Thank you for having me, and goodbye.
And thank you all so much for watching. If you have a topic you would like us to look into, you can comment below right here on this video. And you can also visit our website. It's HopkinsAllChildren'sHospital.org/newsroom. And you'll find so much great pediatric healthcare information there as well. We'll see you next week.